Hello gays, this is your friend Saiyan Nexus Audio Fanfic and we are back in new fanfic. What if Dragon Ball Gohan never woke up, was sent back in time with all his memories, and changed the fate of every universe? Part 3. The next few days follow a similar routine to Gohan's first. He wakes early, talks with Dr. Hesk about his childhood, is beaten up by Rixus, peruses the book collection in Mori's room, and then eats either by himself or with Rixus in said room. All in all, he could be having a worse time. The bed is comfortable and the food is admittedly excellent. He might just return to Earth 3 times wider than when he'd left, although he strangely hasn't regained his full appetite. Rixus, cheeks stuffed like a hamster, had told him that the crops grown in this realm harness more than usual nutrients in order to feed higher beings. "I'm surprised you can eat as much as you can in a mortal body," he'd said one night, "though, it's probably because you're a Saiyan. I'd once heard of a Saiyan eating a god apple in the pits of hell some years ago. I wonder what it did to him." When it marks the 3-week point since Gohan's disappearance from Earth and progression feels to have hit a frustrating standstill, the teenager complains to Dr. Hesk during one of their sessions. "Progress takes time," she cryptically says, just with a touch of sympathy. "I feel like all we've done is talk about my childhood. Really, you could probably write a book about me at this point." Dr. Hesk giggles, and Gohan does too. They'd become friendlier over the couple weeks. No longer is the doctor nervous in his company, often engaging in small talk or explaining the details of the realm to him. She'd also shown him how to fasten a robe after Rixus had collapsed from laughter when Gohan had asked him. After that, she'd rummaged through his cupboards and explained how to wear the variety of cloaks and robes hanging there. Today she'd gone through the method on how they record time so he can learn to say how old he is. Apparently it's measured by how long it takes for 2 of their moons pass each other in orbit. Gohan worked it out that it's about 3 of their years to every 1 Earth year, or something of wobbly equivalence. Going by this maths, Gohan would be around 51 or 52 in age. Dr. Hesk admitted to being 83. And how old was Mori? At death? Yeah. 33 I think. Gohan tilts his head. So young. Dr. Hesk nods in agreement. Yes, it's rather young for a god. Lord Rixus is around about 87 now, and Lord Quell is just under 279, which is still considered young. He splutters. Young. The teenager can't quite contain his jaw from dropping. Quell doesn't even look half that age. She chuckles, closing her notebook and leaning back into the sofa. Of course not. Gods don't age like mortals, and since when do you hear of mortals living into their millions? Millions. Thin brows raise and she nods. Huh? What? Wait. He breathes, looming forward dramatically. Are you telling me that you mean? His voice wilts and he hopes she catches his meaning. She does. Her hands clasp together. Oh, wait. You thought I meant that he was only there. No, Gohan, Lord Mori was 33 million years old. Awa. In Rixus, he's that old too. But he's like a kid. In his head he's basically a child. Dr. Hesk is really laughing now, hiding her giggles behind the leathery spine of her notebook. Aghast, Gohan watches on as he lets the information sink in. Gohan, these are gods, what did you expect? His eyes balloon. I don't know. My brain can't even comprehend that much time. It's something Gohan plans to bring up with Rixus later just out of the sheer curiosity of it. Being so impossibly old doesn't at all suit the guy, what with having the mental state of a golden retriever, one always sprinting in circles for his toys, except the toy isn't a ball or a bone but instead an overexerted Gohan after being battered about for a week straight. Even his dad doesn't push him this much. Really, if the hyperactive god isn't careful then he's going to break Gohan for good. No amount of medical aid or strange syrupy medicine they have tastes like kiwi, will be able to do the teenager a world of good if he ends up dead. As Dr. Hesk opens her book to the back page, Gohan knows that he's in trouble. This can only mean that it's now time for the physical activities of their sessions, meditation. In the past, he'd always been comfortable doing it, particularly with Piccolo out in the green stretches of the forests or perhaps under the rush of a waterfall. The white noise always helped him concentrate, something he'd told Dr. Hesk a couple days back just as an off comment, but she must have taken it in because on today's visit she's brought along a speaker. The crackles of static fill the vacancy between them, and the teenager is reminded of rain thumping down on a car roof. If he didn't have to meditate, he'd consider it soothing. He, however, does. Again, it's not the meditation itself that's the problem, but rather what the doctor hopes to achieve through the attempts. We're going to try and push through that boundary today, Gohan, she says. Boundary is what she likes to say when she means to explore further than Gohan's memories, to explore past the things that make him him. He doesn't see the point because there really isn't anything beyond his own identity or consciousness. What she expects to discover is beyond him. There's only Gohan knocking around in his head. He thinks he'd know otherwise, thanks. Still, Gohan knows to be polite. Okay, sure. Want me to sit on the floor again? Wherever you're comfortable, Dr. Hesk replies, looking ever more amused as he reduces himself down to the floor and into a cross-legged position. She'd seemed so tickled the first time he'd done it too. Gohan guesses that it's not in Lord Mori's personality to be so casual, that the contrast is something that might turn heads. Yeah, floor is good. Floor is fine, if you say so, but she's smiling all the same as she trails her finger down the page. Okay. Let's see where we got to last time. Here. We stopped because, she sighs, because you fell asleep. That's right, I remember now. I said I was sorry. I just think your voice is really relaxing. I didn't mean to. Gohan's face warms in embarrassment. That is the doctor's way of showing her frustration, her protest without chiding him in the way he's sure she would if he was just any other patient. Even if her nervousness seems to have faded, Gohan can still feel that he's been placed upon a pedestal of some kind. Regardless, he feels bad. I'm sorry. Dr. Hesk turns up the white noise. Are you ready? He shuffles into an upright position. I am. And no falling asleep this time. No, I'll be good. Okay. Close your eyes. Her voice has now adopted a softer approach. It's wispy and almost musical in how she delivers her syllables. Her whispers are barely audible over the hush of white noise, and he really has to focus on what she's saying to hear her right. I want you to find your comfortable place, the place where you feel lightness and spiritual buoyancy, in which you really disconnect from this world and any. Tell me when you reach that place. Gohan's done this several times with her now, so he knows what she wants him to do. Piccolo long ago taught him how to reach his center. It takes a special kind of tranquility within oneself to do it, and whilst it's been difficult to do it in troubling circumstances such as these, Gohan's proudly managed it. Anxious or not, he finds that place within himself and tells the doctor so. So now just let yourself relax into that mental space for a little while. Take a moment to be truly comfortable. Then, something tickles under Gohan's nose. Does he smell lavender? She must have noticed his expression because she talks again, still using that whimsical tone. I'm burning a serenity candle. It'll help to keep you calm and focused. For lavender, it smells remarkably strong. There's nothing subtle about the perfume whatsoever, taking a hold of his senses and racking them with its sweetness as it weaves through his nostrils and straight to his head. It's pretty strong. Deep breaths now, Gohan. When he does as asked, he realizes how wrong he'd been to do so. His chest fills and his head spins. That tranquil place deep within spirals on its axis, twisting and turning unnaturally as it swings Gohan along for the ride. Another breath is taken, and then another, just because he doesn't know what else to do when his eyes refuse to open. Colors dance sultrily around in the darkness as the lavender breathes life into his own personal rainbow. What is that stuff? He tries to demand. Instead, his words are lethargic. This time we're not going to talk about your childhood or your victories in battle, she goes on to say, ignoring him, I just want you to remember something personal. However small it is, it doesn't matter, only that it means something to you. The memories fly at him quicker than usual, vastly so. Over the last week, Gohan's not struggled per se, but not really dug as deep as he could have to seek the required answers. Now, the answers seek him. A swam of personal and highly moving feelings batter him in an array of colors. The purples beat at his back, the blues his front, and the orange, solo in its venture, dives towards his face. He grasps that one because of its boldness, because deep down Gohan's sure that this is the memory that means the most to him. When he sees it play out, Gohan's only more confused. There's no luxury of place, weather or a setting. He only sees the simplicity of one thing, the back of his dad's GI. He watches it as it grows smaller with distance. It's moving away from him, the turtle insignia growing minuscule as it shrinks and shrinks into obscurity. His hand reaches out on instinct, his legs try to move only for him to discover that they're now made from cement. When he shouts, there's not a sound that comes out. Gohan's stuck there, alone, as the back of his father becomes a pinprick memory against the fate of black. Do you have one? Comes her voice. His mouth betrays him, slurring. My dad. Shish. Don't say it. Just feel it. He does. He really feels it. I don't like this. Why? What emotions are you experiencing? I don't know. The orange isn't bright anymore, but now a dull amber that steals all the light. Gohan watches as the black swallows the dot, the light, and then at how it snaps at any lingering positivity that might still reside within. His chest is heavy. Gohan. Frustrated, he finally admits. It's the only word he can think of which best describes how he feels, and then, tired, sick, I feel. I just hurt. Gohan. I don't know. Yes, I do. The weight pulls him free from his place of serenity, the lavender making his nose dry, the white noise screaming so loud that he's really sure that he might actually be next to his and Piccolo's waterfall. It's all too much. The lavender is too much. Daddy. That was his voice, it feels like it had just ripped from his chest. The rip tears downwards and it's as if Gohan's falling with the rip, bouncing between the uneven stitches of his emotions, flittering between hot and cold. Other memories now join. There's Cell and Boo, there's the Saiyans, an uncomfortable image which includes a much younger Vegeta. His sneers makes Gohan want to turn and run straight for his old mentor. It's a flipbook of memories. People of varying importance cameo dizzily as Gohan tries to regain himself, and then a curtain of blonde. It falls like silk as it draws closer. Golden eyes peer from behind the veil under dark lashes, glowing dangerously as the mouth below silently speaks to him. Whatever is being said must be menacing if only due to the slick delicacy it's being said with. A shiver runs down his spine when those eyes finally connect with his own. They're mine. It's a mirror. Winded, Gohan splutters from the shock of it. It's too much. It's now definitely too much. His chest hurts. He jolts forward hard, finally free from the hold of the lavender and free from the image of gold. The room is hazy now, most likely from the candle, and he can see the doctor's concerned expression from behind her face mask. Gohan. She calls out. Her hands reach his upper arms and she shakes him gently. What did you see? Was it a memory? He rubs at his throat, coughing, and suddenly furious. What is that stuff? There's something sheepish about how she looks up at him. It's herbal, don't worry. I didn't do anything, bah. Gohan recoils from her. Did you drug me? You finally broke through, she defends, still on her own personal high of witnessing the fruits of her labor. We're getting closer to unearthing some truth. Isn't that exciting, Gohan? His mouth parts as he considers the way her face lights up. It's disgusting. He's disgusted. She drugged him. Unable to stand the stillness, Gohan stands, albeit a bit wobbly, and gestures towards the door. I want you to leave, please. Gohan. Go, now. His forehead creases in tight folds as he finds himself too frustrated to even look at her. Please just. I'm pretty angry. Dr. Hesk looks remarkably torn, which annoys Gohan further because he knows it's her curiosity which still guides her, leading her down a path complicit in making him want to blow the entire estate up. How dare she just give him drugs? Who does that? Leave, he orders, and she jumps up from the sofa right away. Gohan silently watches her collect her belongings, including that burnt-out candle he wants to launch through the window and into the forest. Before she reaches the door she offers a low bow. My apologies, my lord. Gohan's so annoyed that he doesn't bother correcting her. The door pulls closed and he sinks back down to the sofa. That face from the memory makes him feel queasy. So Gold. For once, sparring comes at a good time for him. No more does Rixus collect him from his room like a child minder, instead choosing to meet him on the grassy plain by the river that they've grown fond of. The purple of the sky appears to have soured to a dour grayish lilac and the trickles of rain pinprick the skin coolly as Gohan makes his way across the grounds. No other people come out this way, which is why he suspects Rixus chose this area in the first place, especially considering he's now mentioned on multiple occasions that he likes to train in the courtyard more so than anywhere else. Gohan's a bit later than usual and so Rixus is already about halfway into his stretching routine by the time the teenager gets there. The bounce of blonde bobs up. Oh, you're pissed. What happened? Nothing. Rixus shakes his head and lowers to stretch out his hamstring. It's all over your face, but if you don't wanna talk about it I won't force you. Right. But being in a bad mood won't help you with your terrible form. Gohan ignores the jab, gritting his teeth. Maybe you could give my form a try, Tota. He clicks his tongue, and then with a sharp tone, the teenager interrupts, can we just do this? Peering up, Rixus coos at him, a long high-pitched sound which tests Gohan not to throttle him. Fine, the teenager sulks as he turns a shoulder, I'll just go back to my RO. Mori. He then calls, laughing at Gohan's misfortune and making the latter feel even more irritated, don't be like that, come on, I'm just playing. I don't want to play, Gohan then insists, I just want to go home and all of you are stopping me. I want to go back to my family, I want to see my friends, my girlfriend, and yet 3 weeks have passed by with nothing to show for it. Rixus crosses his arms and surveys Gohan's budding rage. So Gohan continues, the heat churning as his frustration starts to spill out of him. All this time we've done nothing but spar, well, more like you beating me up, all the while my family are back home on Earth worrying about me. Yet you don't even let me contact them. None of you let me contact them. I just want to talk to my da. It's not me, Rixus interrupts, I'm not stopping you from doing anything. Then help me. He splutters, exasperated. Rixus quirks a smile and shrugs his shoulder. Sorry. No can do. I said it's not me stopping you. Rather, I should have said that Quell is the one keeping you grounded here. He's the boss, so I've gotta comply. You know, only limited people can have access to you until you stop being a potato. Stop saying that. Lighten up, he continues. You're not a prisoner. But Gohan disagrees. That's exactly what I am. The god laughs, tilting his head back to expose the sharp glint of gold from his eyes. Oh yeah, then you're not trying very hard to break out. Earth can't be that special to ya if you're brunching with me every morning. The teenager's fists clench. I'm trying to cooperate. There's a click of the tongue from the blonde. Is that what you think? You've not tried at all, Mori. Gohan. Gohan seethes because the fire in his stomach is starting to spit, starting to rile him up. My name is Gohan, and I am trying. 1 second has Rixus several feet away from him and the next has him so close in front of the teenager that Gohan nearly tumbles over from the surprise of it. He's tall, Rixus, looming over Gohan by several inches and posing an intimidating aura without the effort of really trying. Even with his placid smile, Rixus sends a vibration of nerves through Gohan. Rows of pearly white teeth shine back as he speaks in his low tones. You aren't trying. You've not been able to touch me all week, and I don't think it's for a lack of power because I can sense that you've got a bit about you pretty good considering your mortal body yet, he sighs. I don't think you're interested in giving me a good fight at all. I'm not, Gohan replies, eyes thinning, I just wah. Rixus pushes him and the teenager falls flat against the grass, bottom throbbing. You wanna go home? Fine. If you beat me then I'll help you. In fact, I'll take you there myself. How does that sound? From the ground, Gohan glares. You're lying. There's no point in fighting. I'm outmatched, severely so. Rixus laughs. What a lousy attitude, little brother. He then steps over the teenager's fallen form as if avoiding a pile of mess, as if Gohan is just an obstacle between him and the pathway. Collecting his bag in a smooth swoop, he turns and spares Gohan a look over his shoulder. I don't feel like fighting today. I feel kinda put off. When you feel like putting in a bit of effort then you can find me in the courtyard. And for the second time that day, Gohan's left alone to boil from the inside. Time passes as he sits upon the grassy plain, and it takes a while for him to collect himself. His thoughts are tainted with bubbling annoyance, everything looks moodier to him now, and he's filling with quick resentment. This isn't him, but this is what this place is doing to him. So it's Quell who's stopping me contacting my family. It's not a reassuring thought. Gohan hasn't encountered the guy at all since coming to the estate, daring only to wander around the quarters assigned to him and in the grounds close to the river. In reality, the grounds run long and immeasurably into the distance. All Gohan knows is that there's a courtyard there, one where Rixus is probably training right now. Rixus. Gohan scowls. It just scorches him to think about the guy. During Gohan's time here it wouldn't have been a stretch to say that he'd been growing fond of the god, enjoying his company well, until the idiot would take it too far just like he'd done today. He kicks an offending pebble into the shrubbery. I have been trying, he complains, even though all this is stupid. It sounds like something Goten would say and Gohan feels a little embarrassed with the snotty nature of it. I'm no god, he then proceeds to tell a neighboring tree, why aren't they listening to me? The foliage offers little in response and so Gohan just sighs. The surrounding forest, whilst an excellent listener, seems not to have an answer for the teenager, giving him little reason in wanting to hover around. So he walks, and walks, exploring the different clearings, and passing old and unused buildings resembling the quaint builds one can spot in a history book back on Earth. And with being back on the subject of Earth, Gohan starts to feel depressed once again. The sullen stroll leads him back to the estate about an hour or so later, but it's at an opposing side to where he usually comes out, nowhere near his quarters but instead nearing a grand entrance Gohan assumes to be a center exit. He approaches it if just a little warily, praying that the intensity of Quell's aura doesn't suddenly appear. That would be disastrous. Really, only so much can go wrong in one day. Thankfully no such pressure appears in Gohan's left to it as he passes through the well-kept gardens leading up to a grand set of doors. Center stage sits a fountain, one large and round, home to the polka dots of lily pads, and extravagantly gaudy enough to look at home in Mr. Satan's mansion. With the path circling around it Gohan has to follow, and he traces his fingertips across the stone wall of the fountain as he passes. The water sitting on the surface offers a troubling reflection behind its ripples, one where those eyes stare back, golden and not at all his. Mori's eyes. They blaze just like Rixus' eyes. No wonder he'd recognized Gohan's frustration. The manic glow burns impossibly hot, signaling radiant distress which is only highlighted by the fierce pinching of brows. For a second Gohan can barely recognize himself. He recalls that vision, The horrid thing born from drug use. God, what would his parents say if they knew? Drugs? Him? No, never. Still, the effect was apparent. He can remember what he saw clear as day. Golden eyes peer from behind the veil under dark lashes, glowing dangerously as the mouth below silently speaks to him. He splashes at the water. The gold blurs and he stalks off in the direction of the doors. The teenager dares not to think of it again, trying to focus on his goal of surviving his time here and not getting too wrapped up in all the nonsense. Before long, he'll be back home on Earth and back to studying for college and back to spending time with his dad out in the mountains, sparring between the rare but equally enjoyable fishing breaks. It's not fair. He'd just gotten his dad back only a few short months ago and now this happens. It's like the two are destined not to ever be together. Gohan groans into the crook of his hands, really working himself up, as he takes steps towards the doors. Just why should they expect him to put his all into it? Gohan is not Mori. Gohan is just some kid from Earth who wants to go back and hang out with his dad without having to panic about some danger on the horizon. As Gohan reaches for the door handle, he stops, hearing two voices from the other side. Another lie from you once again, says one voice, heated in its muffle. I have not lied to you, Milo. 3 more Zeelites were spotted on the grounds just this week. How you continue to look me in the face and lie only strengthens my belief of your inadequacy. We have nothing to do with that organization. There's a bout of silence until a whirlwind of noise follows. Don't think you can deceive me. You think I will accept this disrespect, this daring, lying down. The Zeelites took one from me and they shan't take another, not again. My lord, I'm warning you, all of you, that if I manage to secure one of these persons, then I'll make their existence full of displeasure, and then I'll find their sponsors and bring a world of ruin to them too. We have had problems with this organization ourselves. They've infill. The teenager moves away, not liking where any of this is going. Knowing that it's not his place to eavesdrop, he takes a step backwards onto the steps. However, he miscalculates the step, causing him to stumble forwards against the door. He doesn't mean to, but Gohan slams the door ajar with an almighty clang. It shakes the opposing walls, making the sound ricochet past the entryway and down into the depths of the estate. I hope no one heard that. And because today really hasn't proved to be going in Gohan's favor, he finds that that hope is thrown right back into his face and that he's just walked into the fray of an ongoing conversation. The participants look up in surprise, one the face of an individual resembling a Kai and the other, Quell. Gohan gulps and immediately traces his steps backwards, but it's too late. Quell's intense pressure has the teenager still his legs, cementing him to the ground as both onlookers watch him with their questioning gazes. I suppose we'll end this here then, says the Kai, somewhat curtly. Quell doesn't take his eyes off of Gohan. The gold is shriller than ever, harsher than Rixus could ever dream to be. Yes, Quell finally replies with equal sharpness. There's a short bow from the Kai to Quell, one unacknowledged, with the latter two occupied with staring Gohan down. The Kai then makes moves to slink past the both of them, eyeing Gohan with an unrecognizable flash of emotion across the face as he goes. Gohan wants to follow, to chase him through the doors, but finds himself still glued down. Quell's energy steals his will. It's been a short while since Gohan has seen the man, yet the discomfort still resides strongly within. At the spire, Quell's presence had not only made the teenager uncomfortable but the entire population of the hospital too. Perhaps it's a strange magic tied to the god, or maybe it's how he uses his ki, which is strange because Gohan still can't sense it. He doesn't know, but he does know that the weight nauseates him. It nauseates him so much that he wishes he could just fall unconscious where he stands and deal with very little of it. Quell's upturned lip stresses into an even fouler grimace. Your mortal form disgusts me, Mori. Gohan box. He's not a model or anything, but no one has ever called him ugly to his face. Then he realizes that Quell isn't talking about his appearance because apparently Mori and Gohan do share similar features. Does Gohan's hair bother the guy? Surely it's more than that. When you denounce your mortality, then you'll be more palatable to be around, Quell continues. His hair falls in graceful waves, blonde against white, and he takes a step towards the teenager. Until then, I don't want you nearing my quarters again. Should I see you here once more, then I'll chain you to your chamber, do you understand? It takes Gohan a long second to realize that it's not a hypothetical question and that an answer is expected. When he meets Quell's eyes, all he can do is nod. Words become too much for him. This pressure. I think I'm going to be sick. A gloved hand reaches out and drags Gohan's hunching form upright. Quell isn't too much taller than him, but he feels mountains high. Those icy eyelashes flutter, and with a whisper, "Now go." And Gohan does, urged by the pressure. He makes it out with unsteady legs, quavering for 10 minutes until he can't take any more. When given the opportunity, he throws up into the closest bush at hand. It's not until an hour later and safe back in his chamber does Gohan think it wise to take up Dr. Jivel's offer to call him. The computer is easy enough to use, much simpler than the devices back on Earth. With voice command, it's a slick process which helps him achieve what he needs to do. Lanet tongue with its cursive design does show up on a regular basis, but it's not such a demanding presence that it misleads him into doing something he shouldn't. When Gohan speaks Dr. Jivel's name into the mic, a small dot on the front of the screen, an information box pops up. He remembers to repeat the name again and say yes. Then, an animation appears, signaling that the call has been made and all Gohan can do is wait. "Lord Mori," greets a voice from the speakers. A video feed follows up on the computer of the doctor. He's in uniform and in an undisclosed office somewhere, presumably in the spire. "Dr. Jivel," Gohan breathes. He's genuinely happy to see the man. After being stuck in this madhouse for a week, it's finally nice to see a friendly face. "I didn't disrupt you, did I?" The doctor, amused, shakes his head. He looks tired but otherwise not too run off his feet. "Just some paperwork today, luckily. I've had to sign off on some of Dr. Hesk's work." Gohan frowns. "Oh, so you've spoken to her?" "I have. Today. An hour ago, in fact." Awkwardly, the teenager takes a seat in Mori's computer chair. It's as comfortable and plush as the bed itself. "So, he coughs, did she tell you about what happened today?" Dr. Jivel strokes at his chin with a knowing smile. "She did. And what, sir?" The doctor's playing dumb, clearly wanting Gohan to elaborate his own twist on the story. But Gohan wants to hear what Dr. Jivel has to say first before he makes an idiot out of himself. He'd gotten angry, furiously so, at Dr. Hesk this morning after she drugged him. That kind of anger is rare in him these days, and so it makes him feel all the more silly despite knowing that she'd been in the wrong. "Doctor," Gohan says, staring into the camera with a heavy expression, "you know why I'm angry. Please don't play games. This is all they do here at the estate and I'm just no good at it." Dr. Jivel hums knowingly, leaning back in his own chair. "You're out of your comfort zone, aren't you, Gohan?" "Yes. Very much so. It's like they have the inability to be straightforward, like you're speaking a different language." "Yes. Rixus always seems like he wants something more from me, like he's waiting for Mori to suddenly appear in a cloud of smoke. Even when he thinks I'm not looking, I notice. He keeps calling me little brother, as though Mori isn't bad enough, and insisting I spar with him daily." "Interesting. And you're able to keep up?" The teenager leans forward. "No, I'm not. He's a god, doctor. I can't quite possibly match him. He's a machine." "Understandable," he responds levelly. It's not at all the reaction Gohan wanted from him. He should be spitting that Rixus has dragged him out to fight, especially considering that Gohan's still not in top form. Gohan's brow furrows. And today, he has no right to be annoyed with me. He's the one who keeps spouting such rude things. You had words. More like he stormed off like some kid. Gohan's cheeks tinge because that's not the entire truth. Guilt gets the better of him and so he adds, he'd said I hadn't been trying. With sparring. He shrugs. I don't know. I guess. There's quite a break of silence from the doctor, one which causes Gohan to tear his eyes away from his shoes and back up to the screen, to where he sees the doctor study him with a keen eye. Perhaps he's referring to something else. Have you thought that? Gohan jolts, the frustration quick to return. Like what? Well, let's go back to today's meeting with Dr. Hesk. She'd been quite shaken after your session this morning. No, he won't stand for this. Gohan hits a fist against his table. She drugged me. A serenity candle is little different from your basic herbs, Gohan, he downplays, making him feel even more frustrated. Before Gohan gets a word in, the doctor continues. I've used far more potent drugs and vaccines for a common cold than one of those old things. Don't look at me like that. I'm not saying that she should have done it without consulting either me or Lord Quell, and I've written her up on that, but it's hardly anything to throw a fuss over. And really, Gohan, what choice have you given her in the end? What's that supposed to mean? Okay, now, I'm going to ask you a question and I want you to be as honest as possible here, alright? Gohan shuffles upright in the chair. Right. Have you really been giving this your all? My, all. He puts it into different words. Have you really tried recounting Lord Mori's memories? Have you tried engaging seriously with Lord Rixus? Have you really tried your best to search for the truth? Gohan sucks in a gust of air. He knows the truth. This entire thing is a mistake and so he tells the doctor. And what if it's not? Gohan pushes Dr. Jivel snappily. And what if you're standing in the way of what needs uncovering, of justice? It's just not possible. He tries, but the doctor's expression only darkens. Lord Mori's body was found by Lord Quell in the very spot in which you sit right now. Murdered. A cold dread runs down Gohan's spine as the image of the doctor stares him down. Suddenly very self-conscious, the teenager peers around the space, trying to imagine the crumpled form of the god, trying to imagine those gold eyes listless. I didn't know he was murdered, Gohan says in a small voice. From out of nowhere, Quell's words from earlier spring to mind. He remembers the heat in the god's voice. Don't think you can deceive me. You think I will accept this disrespect, this daring, lying down. The Zeelites took one from me and they shan't take another, not again. The Zeelites, who are these people? Are they the ones who killed Mori? Is that why Quell is the way that he is? It's as if the doctor can read Gohan's mind because he next tells him, you don't need to worry about the logistics of it, at least for now, just be aware that this may come up in the future. Then why aren't people telling me these things? He demands hotly, you want me to cooperate but you won't let me in on anything. And you won't be the longer you insist you aren't Lord Mori, counters the doctor, you can't have it both ways. You earn this information, Gohan. You earn it when you learn to put more effort into trying to discovering the truth of who you really are. Your reports from Dr. Hesk indicated that you had a breakthrough this morning and perhaps that is what has you so indignant now. What did you see? Was it truly so troubling? Eyes. Golden eyes. Gohan doubles down. I didn't see anything. What a terrible liar you are. It's the truth. Then that's no truth I subscribe to, he replies simply. If you want to be secretive then be it on your head, young man, but understand that the only person in your way is you. You want to return home so much. Then assist us with your effort, your attitude, your will. There's no point in you only giving a fraction of yourself when we require the entire being. I am Tree. Do you really believe that, Gohan? Dr. Jivel leans forward. Would your father, your mentor, Would you respond to their requests in such a fashion? BB. His voice dies because he has no answer for that. Instead, Gohan groans. It's a deep, long sound accompanied by a pair of hands running down his face. Absently, he hears Dr. Jivel creak back in his chair. Doctor, Gohan attempts, tired, so very tired from today, I really, don't believe I'm Lord Mori. The doctor's hardness drains from his face. Something soft replaces it. That's because, Gohan, you don't think yourself important enough. The teenager deflates, accepting the truth. Dr. Jivel offers a smile as he tastes victory. Ask yourself, if this was anyone else, what would you believe? What would be your advice to them? Gohan leans back in his own chair, admiring the ceiling. I don't know. Then listen to someone who does have some advice. It's time for you to try a little harder, okay? The teenager continues to stare upwards, watching the patterns of the ceiling spiral together in its coat of paint. The white and gray delicately come together. Gohan's shocked by a morbid thought when he stares for too long. Is this the last thing you saw before you died, Mori? When Gohan had been a kid, he'd always wanted a friend his own age. A few of the village kids would invite him to play ball games sometimes when he'd get supplies for his mother, but rarely did he ever join them. Gohan had been far stronger, never really knowing his own strength, or at least what's considered a normal amount of strength, and so would often make excuses or just avoid them completely. It never hindered him, not having friends his own age, or at least he'd thought so until he went to school with Vidal. Arasa and Sherpner, more so the former than the latter, can be considered his friends now too. They all study together, eat lunch together, and one time they all went to an amusement park together. He's never experienced anything like it. For once, he felt kind of normal. So now that he's hanging around with the million-plus-year-old god, why does he feel like the older one? Gohan grimaces. My foot doesn't bend that way. Sure it does. Here. Just give it a little twist. Oh, don't scream, you baby. I think you broke something. Do behave. Rixus clicks his tongue, angling Gohan's elbow to be better tucked in. On ta-da. There you have it. Now that's what I call a power stance. The teenager shakes, struggling to hold said power stance, as his knees threaten to turn inwards at a moment's notice under the wobbly strain. His calves are on fire and Gohan's not sure he'll ever have use of his left ankle again. When Gohan collapses into a messy pile of throbbing limbs, Rixus claps like he'd just won an award. Excellent display. Absolutely fabulous. Gohan extends a hand, grasping at air. You're a bad teacher. Rixus takes it and hauls him up, laughing. You're a worse student. Once he's up, Gohan takes to dusting the smattering of dirt off of his GI into little brown clouds. The once dark shade of his bottoms is now a murky brown-gray. I'm never going to get this. You're doing better than last week. And he is, if only because Gohan can hold the position for longer than 3 seconds now without losing balance. It's not exactly a proud feat, but he'll take it. At least Rixus seems happy. There's a whopping grin on his face like Christmas had just come early, all whilst he's admiring the teenager with an affection resembling the budding of pride. Gohan won't bask in it, however, instead turning away to look at anything else. He refuses to be a project for this meathead. Refuse all he likes, it's still happening. Here, calls Rixus. Gohan turns and catches an apple. Get that down your neck. We'll pick up again once your lady ankles feel better. Gohan's brow twitches. He takes a large bite of the apple, enjoying the dribble of juice running down his chin. They're much sweeter than the ones on Earth, never sour and always a girly pink color. Gosh, what he'd do to be able to eat an Earth apple, sour or not. It's been 6 weeks since his departure from Earth, 6 long weeks. He's trying to stay positive about all this. Gohan's been away from home for much longer. If he can survive the wilderness alone for 6 months as a little kid, then he thinks that he can survive lodging in a fancy mansion with a bunch of weirdos, even if one of said weirdos thinks beating him up daily constitutes as training. No, no. Gohan shakes his head, banishing the thought. Positive. That's right, he has to stay positive. Another crunch sounds from the apple. Whilst Rixus comes across as quite the eccentric, Gohan can say that the guy has somehow grown on him, much like how mold would trail up a tree or how a parasite would lovingly attach itself to an animal. This parasite mostly enjoys pestering Gohan to spar until he snaps and ends up doing exactly what he wants him to do anyway. Is Gohan really that easy to play? A sigh leaves the teenager. Everyone around here is crazy. They test him with their strange antics in the hopes that he'll stumble upon some senseless epiphany. Several weeks after the last vision, Gohan's not had any others whatsoever, and despite Rix's pestering for him to try the Serenity Candle again, he has no plans to do so. Gohan's son has no interest in drugs. After his talk with Dr. Jival a few weeks back, Gohan got up the next morning, tail between his legs, and searched around the estate looking for Rixus. He'd made sure to avoid the area of the estate with the large fountain as to make sure not to near Quell's quarters. That's one lesson learned. After an hour or so of searching, Gohan had managed to find the courtyard. It's a humble section of land, comparably small to some of the other portions of the property he'd seen already. Square, gray and encased in high walls, it makes a perfect place for private practice. This is where he'd found Rixus. Gohan prefers the term determined over stubborn, a word which probably best describes him when coming to matters of the heart. Even if he'd been sorry for showing disrespect towards Rixus, he'd not been about apologizing because he really did stand by his words. He'd wanted to go home, still does, and so Gohan hadn't uttered anything of the sort. Apparently just seeing Gohan there had been enough for Rixus, however, because within seconds the deity had bounced over and put him into a headlock for nearly a solid 2 minutes, laughing. Quick to forgive, quicker to smile. Yes, Gohan can definitely see his father in this man, and that's why he must find the dolt so darn likable. What do you wanna do for lunch? Asks Rixus. I still haven't shown you the South Lake area yet. I think you'll like it. Lots of wildlife. You want to take a break already? Gohan's surprised. He's only sporting a bloodied lip, black eye and 2 dislocations. That's practically nothing compared to how he usually comes out of this. Look, I can still move my left leg. I feel like it's not a job well done until you break it. Rixus barks a laughs, apple spraying everywhere. I did say that you're getting better. Gohan wipes bits of the showered apple from his face. I just think you like having a reason to beat me up. Fine, fine. We'll skip lunch. I'm game to continue sparring. No. His hands wave up, eyes manic. Okay, lunch it is. Let's go to this lake place of yours. I want to see it. Rixus, as usual, is physical with his affection. An arm drapes around Gohan's sweaty shoulders. Should I invite Quell? It'll be like old times. Another bark escapes when he reads Gohan's horror-struck expression. I'm just teasing. AWH, Mori, don't look at me like that. It's a joke. I promise Quell won't be there. I'm seeing him tonight anyway. Gohan cranes his neck away because a deep, dark part of him likes getting a reaction out of Rixus. Call it revenge for the uncountable amount of times Rixus gets a rise out of him. It's just payback. He milks it just long enough for Rixus to start calling him by his actual name, a rare but immensely enjoyable thing just because it means the teenager's got one over on him. Gohan, he sings, come eat with me, Gohan. Let's eat some delicious food, Gohan. Stop teasing me, the younger insists. Gohan. Rixus. Gee, I hope you choke on your lunch. So mean. You're getting mean. The arm tightens around Gohan's neck and Rixus starts wailing into the crook of it like a child. He cries out the name, savoring each syllable's foreign sound as though he's a naughty schoolboy testing out new swear words. Gohan tries not to laugh when the idiot splutters into a damp shoulder. You. So, moist. Not all of us can remain bone dry, he offhands, slipping away courtesy of the sheath of perspiration. We can't all be as criminally strong as a god, you know. Rixus nods a head towards him, a small sort of smile on his face. You could. The rare earnestness of it makes Gohan splutter. Why yeah, well. Despite feeling like the more mature of the two, Gohan doesn't mind too much. If a stranger saw them, he's pretty sure they'd just look like a couple of friends mucking around, two normal school-age friends with nothing better to do than wrestle on a field in the middle of nowhere. It's nice, really. Whilst Arasa and Sherpner could be considered friends, it feels as though that's really the case with Rixus. There's a brief break of silence until a hand claps Gohan's arm. Food. He smiles back, nodding. Food. Age 780, Mount Paozu, Earth. Schoolbooks, spare clothes, phone charger, questionable collection of comics accumulated over the years. Okay, he's packed everything he can see. Goten looks around the somewhat tidy bedroom, a foreign sight to behold. After clearing out everything of value to him, stuffed toys have been stored under the bed in a box. He can boast that for the first time in years that the floor can be seen in its entirety. And this is how it's going to look from now on, clean, empty and void of any inhabitant. Goten zips up his battered backpack and surveys the space. Good riddance, he tells the mausoleum. Even his room is a graveyard in its own right, harboring memories like the dead, concealing good times in the depths of childhood memorabilia and teasing a time long left in the past. But no more will Goten put up with it. He doesn't want to be constantly reminded of how much he doesn't live up to someone else. The morning light peers through the cut of the curtains, making Goten suspect the dourness of yesterday's weather has long since passed. When he'd gotten home last night, he'd had to deplete his dad's last first aid kit of senzu beans. He took one for the multiple broken bones and then took the other out of spite. His dad will probably return so broken and beaten up that he won't be able to make it to the first aid kit anyway. Piccolo will most likely have to take him straight to Dend. Whatever. Goten doesn't care anyway. With his bag slung over his shoulder, he makes his way down the stairs and through the kitchen. Just as he's about to open the back door, it swings ajar. It's a bit of a shock and he almost falls over when his dad emerges from the other side, a colossal fish chopped in two resting on each side of his back. Good morning, he says, pushing past the teenager and into the kitchen. The fish follows. I thought I'd get us something fresh for breakfast. Goten stares into the lifeless whites of the poor creature, lost for words. I'm kind of hungry after last night's training session. There are some noodles in the fridge too, and some bread. What do you think? Not much, if the teenager is honest. The sheer disregard for what happened last night doesn't surprise Goten, not by a long shot. This is a typical Goku-san move. But it does frustrate him, repulse him a bit. Last night had been a mess. Goten doesn't want fish, he wants to go home. Yet here his dad stands, not an injury in sight and as fresh as a daisy, equipped with their meal and his sunshine smile. Goten is so riled up that he can't bring himself to even use words. Instead, he just makes his way towards the door, backpack swinging. Hey, where you going? Goten. Hey, Goten, I'm calling you. Fists clenched, finally Goten swivels. You're kidding me, right? Huh, you've gotta be kidding me. What do you mean? After last night you think I want to hang around here? His dad looks genuinely confused. Goten, I don't get. It literally happened last night. He snaps, you beat me so hard that I barely made it home without passing out. A flicker of discomfort passes over his dad's face, one which is just as quick to disappear. The man shrugs a shoulder and the fish slides free. Hey, I guess we got a bit rough towards the end there. Rough, he repeats, livid. I couldn't even breathe. I I really thought, God, Dad, I thought that you were going to kill me. His dad looks like he's struggling not to react. The smile looks far more forced than normal. I think I probably pushed it a bit far this time. Sorry, bud. Ha ha, next time all. There's not going to be a next time. I'm done. See this? He shakes his backpack. This is my stuff, all of it. I'm taking it all and not coming back. Goten, I'm sick of it. All you want to do is train, train, train. I hate it. I'm so sick of training. Why can't you see how much I hate it? How much I don't wanna get beaten up each and every time I'm here. How I'm not him. The Saiyan tilts his head. Gohan, don't say his name. Why not? He's your brother. He's dead. I know that, he replies, still sounding equally confused as before and pushing all of Goten's buttons because of it. But we don't need to pretend like he doesn't exist. Goten hits a palm against the kitchen counter. Didn't exist. His dad stands still and watches Goten for a particularly long time, face unreadable. The teenager feels scrutinized, as though it's him that's acting like the crazy one, as though he'd been the one to start senselessly pounding his kid into the dirt. He's dead, I know, Dad eventually continues in a deliberate voice. It sounds practiced. Maybe Piccolo has him repeating this same phrase every other day. At least that green asshole knows how far gone his dad is. He died a while ago, but it doesn't mean that he's gone. That's exactly what it means, so why can't we just move on? Why can't you just let it go? Why are you still so obsessed with him? I mean, the man scratches at the back of his head, awkward. I mean that just because he's not here now doesn't mean that he's not with us, like, spiritually or something. Angry, Goten presses. Were you spiritually with us when you died? Sometimes. The response startles Goten. He doesn't have a reply to that. You know, he continues, I can't sense him or anything, but I just know that he's out there, and that he wants to come home. That's why I train so much. Goten scoffs. I know why you train. It's because you want to save him like you want to save everyone. You can't save the dead, Dad. His dad gawkily chuckles. You trying to sound like Piccolo or something. He's dead and there's nothing you can do about it. The Dragon Balls don't work, and you won't be able to beat up his gravestone until he decides to come back. Goten. His dad doesn't appreciate the lack of respect, but Goten's sick of it. No, Dad, he says, I'm done. See here, he shakes his backpack once again, this is everything I own from this dust box. I'm serious about not coming back. I don't want anything to do with you and your mad quest to become stronger and stronger. Count me done with this house, and done with you. Don't be like that, he tries, brows dropping. The fish slops to the floor as he reaches towards the departing teenager. Let's talk about this, son. Goten, get off of me, he snaps when he's tugged back. I said I'm done. I don't get it. Where's this coming from? Is this because of last night? Really? It's been a long time coming, and Goten says just as much. He feels the heat run all the way from his chest and up into his head, where it feels like it's ready to burst red and pop. Are you kidding me? Dad, I hate coming here. All you want to do is train and fight. Mum got sick of it and so have I. It's all you can think about. I know some of it has to do with him, but I really think you're just addicted to getting stronger. You're just like Vegeta, except Vegeta isn't completely awful because I saw him actually spend time with Trunks and Bulla, doing something that isn't sparring. I bet even he thinks you've lost it too, huh? Hurt courses across his dad's face, but Goten can't stop himself now that he's started. You beat me so hard that, if not for Piccolo, I really could have died. He shouts. The truth of it is still raw, and so it still hurts. Tears prickle at the corner of his eyes. And you don't even care, even now, you don't say sorry or you don't acknowledge it, you just bring a ing fish and, he takes a deep breath, and you just try and brush all this under the carpet as usual. I'm sick of it here. I'm sick of feeling invisible. Goten, you hit me. He accuses as though he's just realized it for the first time, you really hit me. And if not for Pick, a hand reaches up and catches the first sob. Dad, you really hurt me. Goten's not cried in years, not like this. The last time had been when his parents first announced their separation. Even though Mum promised that it wouldn't be forever, they're still not back together even to this day, and it's not as if Goten doesn't know why. He does. It's because his dad is acting like a selfish asshole. Why are you being like this? He asks through a clot of tears. I just want us to be normal again. The pregnant pause is a stretched one. It's not silent if only because Goten can't control the hiccups behind the palm of his hand. No matter how hard he tries, he can't swallow the sadness. Goten, Dad tries once more. It's spoken so softly that Goten has to look up to see if he'd heard right, and once he does, he notices that finally his dad's face looks as wrought with the same stress as Goten feels. Please, just hear me out. He swallows against the dryness of his throat as those dark eyes bore into his own. They're like those of a puppy's. Goten finds it impossible to say no, and so he turns and waits. I know I messed up last night, Dad is quick to say. I kind of, just, got too into it. I'm sorry. Goten, I'm really sorry. Please don't go. You hurt me, he repeats weakly. I know. I'm sorry. Look, Piccolo really gave me a hard time last night after you left. I know what I did was awful, I really suck at this kind of stuff, you know. Yes, Goten knows. He holds his breath and waits for his dad to continue. Even when I knew that you were done, I just wanted to push you more. I just think you're so strong, Goten. I know you could reach the next level if you just tried. Dad, he jostles. I'm sorry. Look, I know what I did was wrong. It won't happen again ever again, so if you stay and give me a chance, then you don't have to worry. I won't drag you out for a spar. A glance is spared for the fish crumpled on the floor in two halves. Actually, I was thinking that we could go fishing today. Getting this guy was really refreshing, and I was thinking we could check out the creek after we eat. I mean, if you want to. Goten furrows his brows, staring hard at decapitated fish. I don't know. Then he feels the spread of warm fingers through his hair, and he looks up to see something not completely readable in his dad's expression. I really am sorry, he quietly tells him. I wouldn't ever hurt you on purpose. I love you, kiddo. The teenager sniffs. He knows his dad didn't mean to hurt him. It just happens. What annoys Goten most is that it's always an accident. His dad never forgets a dinner date on purpose, never hits Goten too hard on purpose, never makes promises he'll break on purpose, it just kind of happens. The problem with his dad is that he never tries to avoid his own pitfalls, he always prioritizes the wrong stuff. But he's trying now. Goten stares at his dad's hurting eyes. Just once chance. Fishing, the teenager mumbles, could be fun. He then notices the man's expression lighten by several shades. It'll just be fishing, no fighting. None, his dad assures, bright. It'll just be me, you and any of the fish we catch. You promise? Piccolo won't be there, right? A grin spreads wide, and the man laughs. We'll have a father-son day. No fighting, Namekians or anything of the sort. Heck, I'll change out of my GI now. His dad's smile is contagious. Goten finds himself mirroring it as the goof scratches at the back of his head, sheepish. I think I've still got some regular clothes somewhere. I'll give him this one. Goten wipes a snotty nose against his arm as the last of the tears dry up. His dad has an arm around his neck now and is pulling him in for a half hug, half headlock, chuckling as Goten pretends to hate every moment of it. We could go to the World Martial Arts Tournament if you want in the next couple of weeks, I mean if you want, he goes on to say over the top of Goten's mountainous locks. Don't worry. We don't have to participate or anything. I just thought it could be nice. The tournament had been moved due to force majeure from May of that year to the drier, sizzling date of August. Gohan knows his dad had originally planned on participating to try and earn some prize money, but after a succession of typhoons the idea had been put on the back burner. Actually, the teenager enjoyed that last tournament he went to, and a hopeful part of him doesn't hate the idea of going this year. We could do that, he says coyly. Good. Great. That's great. Say, let's get breakfast on the stove and then we can head out and enjoy the sunshine. I'm not eating anything that witnessed me blubber, Gohan says in reference to the fish on the floor. Dad ruffles at his hair again. I don't mean to break it to you, kiddo, but that poor guy long since bit it. I don't know. It's giving me the stink eye. Another laugh leaves his dad. Oh yeah, have you thought that maybe? The back door flies open and Gohan pistons a foot into the air out of shock. Dad is quick on his feet and pushes him behind, but it's all for naught when the easily recognizable form of the Supreme Kai perches at the doorframe. Oh, you scared me, Dad breathes, hand to chest. I didn't sense you approachin'. Goku, I need your assistance, urges the Kai. There's a manic energy about the guy, something Goten's never seen before except in the instance of the fiasco surrounding Majin Buu. The flop of white hair against the Kai's purple skin is askew and flat with perspiration. Clearly there's an effect on his dad too, because Goten feels the arm around his shoulder slither downwards. What happened? The Supreme Kai looks between father and son, unsure of how to elaborate. I just tracked some warriors to this area. I thought that perhaps they'd been pursuing you. His dad leans forward. Warriors. The tone sounds less concerned and more excited. Dad, fishing, remember? He coughs, falling back. Right, fishing. Sure, yeah. But the Supreme Kai isn't done. These warriors have been causing distress amongst the higher up Kais and gods for some time. For them to be hovering around Earth is a cause for concern. I could really do with your assistant. Sorry. Goten interrupts, not at all sorry. But Dad and I have stuff to do, right, Dad? But his dad doesn't look as sure. He gives a pat to Goten's shoulder as he passes, stepping over the fishy Goliath on the floor and over to the Supreme Kai. What? They're special higher beings or something? Dad. Zeelites, says the Supreme Kai, whatever that means. There's a weight of exasperation about the way he says it. They're called Zeelites, and from our intelligence on them so far all we know is that they're plotting something of great magnitude. Why they're on Earth we still have yet to determine. But they're strong, right? Yes. We've had some rough encounters, he dismisses, waving a hand. Your planet's Dragon Balls, do you know where they are? Everyone knows where the 4-star ball is. It resides in the dustiest and loneliest space in the mausoleum, sitting atop the highest shelf in the most northern bookshelf of the room where it most likely spectates his dad's comings and goings on a regular basis. Goten watches his dad say as much to the Kai, to which the Kai says something back, and then the exchange is just white noise to the teenager's ears. His father's voice grows more and more animated at the prospect of the Kai's concerned words, and Goten starts to feel something bubble in his stomach, bubble hot and red. Without another word, he snatches the backpack up and starts in the other direction of the front door. Where you going? Asks Dad before he can make the corner. Goten swivels, his backpack slamming the doorframe. Pick now, Dad. It's either me or that. Horror struck, his dad lumbers forward with feet which refuse to cooperate. Goten, come on. You can't expect me not to help out here. This is your last chance, Dad. His heart aches, panging hard. Pick me, Dad, please. His dad's eyes grow wide. He looks like a deer in the headlights, stuck between which path to take in order to escape an oncoming truck. Goten's chest tightens. Fine, I'll make the choice for you. The deer doesn't move and so one path closes up. Before his dad can even give a reply, Goten is out of the front door and on his way home to Fire Mountain. Age 774. The realm of the Almighty, the estate grounds. Move that back foot, move it. Gohan whirls, tripping over his own ankle. I'm trying. He snaps back as his attacker pursues him. Rixus is extraordinarily fast, much faster compared to Gohan, especially so as he attempts to bat him away with this new stance. He just can't keep his balance. Mori. Rixus rebukes mid-assault, watch left. Mine or his? It's too late. Rixus is merciless and manages a vicious strike against his left ankle. A crunch sounds, and then a yelp. A rush of pain courses down his leg and the teenager plummets down onto the pads of his knees, the grass swallowing around baggy GI pants as he tips over to bring his foot up. You broke it. Gohan growls. Damn it, Rixus. Rixus saunters over next to him with annoying lightness and inspects the injury. I sure did. Look at that bruising. What a lovely clean break. Gohan hisses from the pain, and probably from the frustration too. You didn't need to go that far. Rixus puckers his lips. I warned you. I said that I was gonna come left at you. It's not my fault that you've got the reflexes of a pensioner. He clicks his tongue as though he's the one who has the right to be frustrated. Here, let me have a look. Gohan gives the deity a bit more space to maneuver. You know what you're doing, right? The idiot turns and flashes his warmest smile. Not really. Flopping backwards against the dirt, Gohan refuses to believe that this man is really millions of years old. Just what has he been doing for all this time? If Gohan was that age, he'd at least try and learn all there is to learn about first aid or injuries. Heck, if he was that old, he'd want to learn about everything. Rixus leans down and Gohan thinks it's because he's trying to get a better look, so when the dolt plants a sloppy kiss to the base of his ankle, the teenager swivels and nearly knees him in the face. I kissed it better, aren't you happy? No. Gohan yaps. I need the serum, you great big dope. Said serum is the medical cream Rixus had introduced to him weeks ago. Its magical properties have the capability to heal any wound or injury, much like how senzu beans can. However, a key difference is that this serum, named Amber Salve for its orange-gold coloring, is more plentiful in that a little really does go a long way. Whilst senzu beans are rare and can only be grown in a specific place, Amber Salve lines the shelves of the medical bay in large bucket-like tubs. These gods are so spoilt. What dad would do to get his hands on stuff like that? I haven't got any on me, Rixus says as he gives Gohan's throbbing ankle a fond pat. We'll have to go back to the medical bay. Think you can stand, or will I have to carry you bridal style? Or I could wait for you here, Gohan suggests. Rixus just has to be melodramatic about it. If you want to be boring about it, then I guess. Does my bride require anything else whilst I'm there? Don't be creepy. The blonde laughs it off and jumps up onto the balls of his feet. The bird's nest on the top of his head bounces with him as he makes his way to the dirt road. It's a long, winding thing leading back to the estate through a snicket ending at the medical bay. After a wave goodbye, Rixus has disappeared into the density of the forest, leaving Gohan to lay spread eagle in the grass. The flowers are even more aromatic today, and so he savors the tranquil moment, if only because he knows Rixus will certainly come and upset it when he returns. I wonder what's going on Earth right about now. A rustle in the nearby bushes has him fold upwards. The ankle screams in admonishment from the sharpness of it, but Gohan's too preoccupied with who could be coming through the thicket. When nobody shows up, he puts it down to being either the wind or a wild animal. These woods often harbor strange noises, noises which sometimes have him lying in bed at night staring out and over the pitch-black forests in concern. Times like these remind Gohan that he really isn't home, and that these are not his woods. Hello, he tries weakly. There's no reply, not even a hush from the leaves. Eventually he lowers back down to the grass. This isn't the first time he's been left alone out here, and it won't be. Another rustle sounds. He sits up. Who's there? He calls. Silence bar the usual chirping and whoosh of the river responds. Gohan has a bad feeling and so he jumps up onto two albeit wobbly feet and plants his back against a particularly big tree. A course of frustration aimed at Rixus makes him grit his teeth. If that idiot hadn't crushed his ankle then he wouldn't be such easy pickings right about now. Show yourself, Gohan insists when he hears not a rustle, but a misplaced footstep. Don't freak out. Stay calm. Another bout of silence drags on for so long that Gohan starts to think that it must have all been in his head. He leans ever so slightly forward and tries to focus his ears. Nothing. That's when a sudden crunch of bark explodes behind him as a fist plants through the center. Gohan is so shocked that he doesn't register when the fist unfurls and grabs at his top, yanking him hard as splinters soar in every direction and cut into the surrounding woodland. There's little time to spin and pull himself clean, and the chaos of wood exploding has him near enough blind, so when the pursuer grapples the teenager to floor, he has little choice but to comply. Gohan avoids a second hand grasping at his throat by bringing a knee up and into the gut of the individual. It connects cuttingly and the person bounces back into a staggered hold. This gives Gohan just enough time to appraise the fighter, or at least what he can of them. They're completely veiled in black from head to toe, as though they're a three-dimensional shadow cast over the greens of the forest. It's jaunting to see, creepy in its own right, something which makes Gohan think of the equally uncomfortable Uncanny Valley characters he's seen in horror movies. The featureless face harbors no expression as it stares him down. Who are you? They don't respond. When the head tilts ever so slightly, Gohan feels a shiver run down his spine. Why did you attack me? Finally, the person responds and Gohan feels the air around drop several degrees cooler. Be still and I'll make this quick. The voice is a whisper, genderless, barely heard over the emptiness between them. Gohan takes a step back just to stumble. His ankle thrums in immediate fury as the teenager contains a yell. It's a cruel reminder that he's actually injured and any serious fight would have Gohan on his back in seconds. But he doesn't take the next move lying down, he wrestles the incoming attack astray with a well-timed grapple, and then strikes out with his injured foot. When it connects he makes sure not to wince, makes sure not to give away his weakness, but it's all for naught when the attacker cracks a dark elbow into the base of the ankle. The teenager yells and sinks low. When another hand grasps at his chin and flexes, he's forced to look up and at the empty darkness of this mystery person. Gohan sees nothing. The void continues forever in a swirl of black smoke, one shaped into human form, feeling firm and just as real as any other living creature Gohan's come by. The teenager goes to pull back for a better swing and that's when it happens. Brace yourself. Her voice is shrill and recognizable, and he doesn't do as told straight away. That's when he sees a gloved fist curl into the cheek of the creature, making it churn away at an awkward angle before crumpling into the distance. His savior is quick to collect him from the ground. Are you injured, my lord? Gohan looks up numbly as he stumbles about, saying dumbly, "You're the captain." Captain Rorg, she says. It's a fleeting introduction, or rather reintroduction, as they'd already met weeks ago in these very woods. Her attention is now on a newly formed dust cloud, one which had been formed from when punching that mysterious attacker. She holds a hand against his upper arm. It's a protective action and makes Gohan feel all the more useless. As the fog of debris settles, the hand slides down his arm. Damn, she growls, sneaky bastard. Gohan focuses and understands the frustration equally as well. The person has disappeared. Cowards, the lot of them, Captain Rorg sighs and then turns back to him. Her face doesn't look as tightly wrought as the last time he'd seen her. Now it's smooth with the lack of hostility, almost warm with concern as she gives him a once-over. There's then an effort of dusting him down, most likely checking for injuries as she wipes away the splints of wood. Your ankle? Did they do that to you, my lord? No, Gohan replies. Talk about a personality turnaround. She'd threatened to kill him last time. The memory isn't lost on him. That was Rixus. She clicks her tongue but doesn't comment. Please can you stop doing, that? Her hands hover over his GI, halting. All the twigs are long gone spare for the tiny things she then manages to pluck out of his hair. Something about the way her lips twitch tell Gohan that she's itching to smirk in his face, Lord or no. I'm sorry, she eventually says. I didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable. His cheeks burn. Yeah, well, who was that? Captain Rourke's demeanor changes in a drastic swing. Nothing for you to concern yourself with at the present time, my lord. I'm sorry I wasn't able to intervene quicker. Had I been surveying the area with a keener eye then. Gohan twists. You've been watching me. The entire area, she goes on to say, swinging the blonde braid from one shoulder to the other. Do you not recall? That's how I found you some weeks ago. I scout this area along with my men. We watch over the estate and by extension the entire realm. He peers over his shoulders and into the shrubbery. Are her men out there now? It's in all likelihood that they're pursuing the attacker as they speak. Are you injured, Lord Mori? She asks once again, tone more measured. Gohan shakes his head but it seems to do nothing to ease her concerns. I think it wise we take a trip to the Spire Infirmary just as a precaution. I'm fine. Really. Nothing happened. With all due respect, perhaps we let Dr. Jivel be the judge of that. Gohan sighs and scratches at the back of his head. He really doesn't like being treated like some precious china doll. Doesn't she remember that they'd gone toe-to-toe when they first met? Their fight had been pretty fairly matched and that was without Gohan really using a good portion of his power. And now with his long training days with Rixus, he's sure that he'd outclass her pretty quickly. When he turns to tell her as much the teenager stops, words thick on the tip of his tongue. Her eyes are thin as she gazes over to where the attacker had been, trailing over each spot with growing anxiety. Gohan can sense it. Her feelings are on her sleeves about as much as his are. Nobody is hurt, he reassures. The captain still doesn't move. Her expression remains hard. Quell's voice travels through his mind once again like a recurring echo, that same sentence. Don't think you can deceive me. You think I will accept this disrespect, this daring, lying down. The Zeelites took one from me and they shan't take another, not again. Gohan breathes hard and cradles his arms. What a mess this is turning out to be. Captain, he tries another time, was it the Zeelites? The reaction is instantaneous. Her head whips round, eyes wide and expressive. She offers not a word but that face alone tells Gohan all he needs to know. It's a bit nostalgic in a way to be back in the Spire area. The hospital still has that clinical smell he remembers, and the beeping is a familiar and unwelcome white noise he'd long since deleted from his brain. Something about it altogether makes the teenager squirm. His time had been both daunting and comfortable, thanks to the good doctor, here and so the bittersweet anxiety is rife. Unsurprisingly, no one present seems to have much sympathy. Dr. Jivel swipes a hand down his wrinkled face. Lord Mori's foot holds 26 bones and you, my lord, his bespectacled gaze lingers towards Rixus, managed to break 8 of them. That's nearly a third. Rixus doesn't take it lying down. I told him to watch out. And I told you not to play rough with the poor boy. TCH. We were gonna use amber salve. The doctor sighs, looking even more exasperated than a moment ago. The serum is not to be used like superglue every time something goes wrong, my lord. Overuse will strengthen the body's will against it. Prevention is better than any kind of remedy. Rixus leans back in his chair like a sulky child. Yeah, let's just all stay bubble wrapped our entire existence. Sounds like a hoot. Dr. Jivel, from behind his desk, turns and regards Gohan with badly veiled sympathy. The teenager sinks lower in his seat with the growing desire to turn invisible. Even though it's Rixus being told off, Gohan feels he should say something in the god's defense. He, did warn me, I guess. Rixus actually laughs and the doctor just appears even more concerned. Wow. Good try, little brother. Gohan feels his cheeks warm. Shish, shut up. Rixus leans over and snaps his fingers, lips upturned. Look, Doc, he's fine. There'd been nothing else wrong with him bar a poor foot, and you've done such an excellent job healing it that I think it's even better now than before. The idiot slaps a hand on Gohan's knee. If we've got any other problems, then we'll call you. When said hand squeezes, Gohan knows it's his turn to agree. Sure. We'll call. Apparently this isn't good enough for the doctor, and after a beat he gestures to the office door with a strained smile. Lord Rixus, would you mind if I spoke to Lord Mori alone? Rixus runs a hand through his hair and groans. Oh geez, fine. The door closes behind the blonde with an unhappy slam. The teenager's brows crease together as his gaze lingers there long after Rixus disappeared. He's really like a little kid, honestly. Don't judge him too harshly, comes the doctor's surprising words. His glasses now lay on the table, folded, as the doctor massages the place they once were. I think he's just eager to get you back to the estate. Lord Quell has put a lot of trust in him to keep you safe, not to mention pressure. Today wasn't his fault. He won't see it that way, and Lord Quell probably won't either. At least Captain Rorg had been there today, otherwise, well, that doesn't bear thinking about. Gohan frowns. I'm not incapable, Doctor. I've fought bigger and badder, you know. We still don't understand the situation as it is, so we need to proceed carefully. These people, Zeelites, are after serving an unknown purpose. Dr. Jivel manages to hide his distress fairly well, but Gohan can see through the cracks on this one. The deepening wrinkles atop the bridge of his nose breed. You need to be aware of your surroundings, you need to practice caution, and most importantly, Gohan, you need to learn to say no to Lord Rixus when you think the occasion proves dangerous. A surge of irritation floods him. It wasn't his fault. The doctor's darkened expression gives way just a bit and the tickle of a smile can be seen, tempted. Lord Rixus is an excitable person, and that excitement often leads him into difficult situations. Don't let the blind lead the blind, you're smarter than that. That makes me blind too. Gohan purses his lips, unhappy. I suppose I am right now. When you recall more memories and get a better sense of yourself, then I'm sure you won't have to deal with either of your brother's overprotectiveness. Gohan wouldn't call Quell overprotective. In fact, he'd call Quell a lot of things he's sure his mother would disapprove of. That guy makes Gohan want to bury his head and never come out ever again. And whilst he's at avoiding the god, he can also pretend that that strange faceless attacker also doesn't exist. Just what the heck is this place? Why are there so many disturbing people? Right. Gohan stands, still feeling indignant. Got it. Dr. Jivel also stands and leads the teenager to the door. Have I made you unhappy? Gohan follows. A little, if I'm going to be honest. The door opens and Gohan walks through it, leaving the doctor to hover about the frame. There's a tired smirk straining his smile. What is this? In my absence have you become fond of Lord Rixus, Gohan? The question catches him off guard, and before Gohan can respond, the door shuts in his face. Annoyingly, the question long lingers after he and Rixus leave the Squire Infirmary. The two walk shoulder to shoulder along a highly populated street, one bristling with characters of all kinds. He remembers the experience of seeing them the first time he left the infirmary, and the excitement hasn't lessened any even now. The overwhelming diversity is such a shock that he can't stop staring at the variety of people going about their day. Most are wearing important-looking robes, others, armor, all whilst a select few wear the more casual clothes like Gohan and Rixus have chosen. The cityscape of the area boasts impressive architectural masterpieces like the Spire Infirmary, some which swoop along the horizon in asymmetric curves. They contrast the older style builds, ones which are reminiscent of the buildings found on the estate grounds. Silver against reddened, almost brown, brickwork creates a landscape of both old and new. The idealized gentrification. Remarkably, there is little in the way of traffic. Gohan recognizes the same dark type of car he'd taken to the estate in abundance, but very little else. No public transport can be seen whatsoever, crazy considering the flying ban enforced upon the inhabitants, and something which leaves him wondering how the society in this area works. There's clearly a hierarchy, one which he's apparently a part of, and there are people working in a variety of fields. Just what kind of lives do these people live? I can see the cogs in your head move, Rixus says, bumping at his shoulder. You trying to create a plan of mass destruction in that giant brain of yours? Planning to bring down the entire universe? Gohan rolls his eyes. Ha ha. No, I'm just wondering how this place operates, if it's similar to Earth or. Boring. Hands clap together when they pass a darkened alley along the street. Oh, let's stop by here before we go home. Just don't tell Quell. Before Gohan can protest, the blonde has him by the forearm and is dragging him along the path. The alley starts to thin with each turn they make, and darker too as the street lighting, glowing an atmospheric purple, becomes more sparse. Gohan doesn't think that they're ever going to stop until Rixus plants him outside an ominous wooden door. A pause stretches out and he suspects that the idiot is trying to gauge a reaction from him. When Gohan refuses to act one way or another, Rixus seems to give up and push the door ajar. The room comes into focus. This is when a reaction erupts. A bar, Gohan calls out. After everything, you've brought me to a bar. You're kidding, right? It's called the Wing and Sing and it just so happens to be my favorite karaoke bar, he says as he pulls Gohan along into the room. We used to come here all the time before you become a vegetable. 1. Stop saying that. And 2. I know for a fact that I wouldn't sing karaoke with you in any lifetime. Oh, you are remembering me. A hand presses against his heart. How sweet. Exactly how you like your drinks, by the way, now that's what I remember. Once they reach the dingy setup of a bar, Rixus slaps his hand down hard against the wood. Hey, barkeep, get me and my brother 2 bottles of your berryod cider. The barkeep, a man of large proportions with a face resembling a disappointed bulldog, considers the blonde with a raised eyebrow. Please, Rixus eventually adds, and to Gohan's utmost horror the man reaches down to the refrigerator and does as requested. Thanks, Iger. Love ya. I'm too young to drink, Gohan hisses. I'm 17. Look. The icy bottle is then thrust into Gohan's wavering hands. We've had a rubbish day. I want a drink, and heaven knows how much you could do with relaxing a little. 1 drink won't kill you. Gohan plants the beer down on the bar, stubborn. I'm 17. There's a smack of the lips as Rixus finishes half the bottle in one go. Then it'll put some hairs on your chest. Have you ever even tried alcohol, Mori? No, of course not. Gohan peers around the mostly empty bar, paranoid. There are only a few patrons dotted around the darkened room, some are playing what looks like strange card game in the corner, others sit in couples talking in languages Gohan can't at all place. None of them are paying any attention to them whatsoever. No one here gives a shit, Rixus adds brightly. He takes a seat on a bar stool and gestures for Gohan to do the same. At least give it a taste. You never know, you might like it. Gohan pushes the plopped down bottle further away just to prove a point. Dr. Jivel told him to start refusing the idiot, so it might as well start here. Rixus looks between Gohan and the bottle before shrugging and taking another generous swig of his own drink. The disappointment strangely affects the teenager, making him feel like he needs to defend himself. I just got attacked by some zealot. Say it. Just say it, stranger. I don't really think you getting drunk is going to help the situation, Rixus. The other bats a hand and chuckles into the neck of his drink. It's one drink. We're stopping for one. It's hardly enough to throw a fit over. And hey, isn't it nice to have some different scenery? Looking back over his shoulder, Gohan spots what he thinks is a woman asleep on a mountain of beer cans. It's very different. Rixus laughs again and slaps him on back. I meant the city. I saw your eyes go all misty and starstruck. I know you loved it. Gohan can admit it. Yeah, it's nice. The other rolls his eyes, still amused. Niece. What a crap word. The Almighty is one of the most wondrous and magical realms in all of existence. Gods, Kais and all varieties of deities reside here in divine glory, and all you can say is that it's nice. You did bring me to a dive bar. Rixus slams the bottle down. So you do know what this place is. They both laugh at the accusation, and even though Gohan's drink goes untouched, he starts to slowly enjoy his time away from the estate, away from the pressures of having to remember being someone he's not. Rixus, as usual, is fun and lively company, and unsurprisingly, one drink turns into two and then three. When Rixus orders his fourth cider and Gohan's second water, he doesn't even look any warier for it. I can handle a drink, he says. You, on the other hand, aw man, you're done after three. I'm guessing it's something to do with your weaker body. Famus was the same, and Quell can drink more than I can, so I think our tolerances are definitely affected by that. Gohan leans forward over the bar. What do you mean? He wraps his fingers along the wooden top. I'm not sure how much I should tell you, but I can't really see this hurting anything. Basically, out of the four of us brothers, only two were born to be physical fighters. I mentioned to you a while ago that you were shit hot with Ki, and you were, but also, you could never fight like I can, or Quell can. Famus was talented in the art of magic. His spell casting was just awesome, but the poor guy couldn't throw a punch to save his life, rest his soul. Gohan realizes something. And that's why you've been excited about sparring with me, right? Ah, you got me. Rixus raises his bottle. I think you always wanted to be able to fight like Quell, and I could, but you never could keep up. As weak as you are now, I think you've got some promise to catch up. When you learn how to tap into your ki again, I think you'll be my perfect training buddy. You and my dad are soul mates. Fact. But then Rixus sighs and the mood deflates along with him. But who knows how long we'll be able to keep at it, you know. Quell is going to freak when Dr. Jivel sends him your report. He hates the idea of you fighting as it is. Now he's going to kick up even more of a fuss. Ah, what a mess. All this over some stupid Zealy. His eyes trail over to Gohan to assess the damage, pausing. Gohan, in turn, pretends to know nothing, understand less. It's not like you're stupid even with the brain damage. You know a bit about the Zealites, right? Somewhat ashamed, the teenager takes a sip of his water before replying. A bit. Well, that's about as much as we know anyway, so don't sweat it. Rixus brushes his hand through the wavy blonde mess and gauges Gohan for a period. The gold of his eyes truly dazzle for a moment. Did that guy freak you out, that Zealite? He's worried about me. Instead of the usual guilt associated with Rixus' brotherly affection, there's now a rush of warmth. Gohan smiles at the god. I'm fine. I think Captain Rorg scared them off. Rixus guffaws. Yeah, probably. Heaven knows that she scares the shit out of me when she gets mad. She scares me a little, I think, Gohan readily admits. Oh yeah, Rixus quirks a lopsided grin as he pinches at the teenager's chin. I get the impression that girls just scare you in general. I have a girlfriend. Of course you do, sweetie pie. I do. Gohan hates the way the idiot keeps laughing and laughing, but still, he can't stop himself from cracking a smile at it all. Whilst he can be the subject of teasing at school, it really does feel lighter with Rixus. Just as he's about to joke back, does the god lean in, expression somber. In all seriousness, the Zealites really are big question marks to us. We don't know who they are or what danger they pose, and not just to us, but to the Kais and surrounding gods and angels alike. So listen well when I say it's really in your best interest to work on your memories. The sooner you regain some of yourself, the sooner you can protect yourself. I can't stick by your side forever, little brother. You're going to have to step up. Rixus. A hand rests on the top of Gohan's shoulder. Eventually, word will get out about your return, and you'll have to be ready. We're not without enemies. The lives we lead, as three, me, you and Quell, they're complicated and full of unknowns. We need you to be savvy, we can't lose you again. Mouth dry, the teenager doesn't know what to say. Denying Rixus right now looks like it would kill him. I know you hated using the Serenity Candle, but I'm pretty sure you got something out of it, didn't you? You're gonna have to open your mind to some new stuff. Then when you know a bit more, I can get you trained up in order to protect yourself. Gohan exhales a deep breath as he tries to mull over the words. It's hard for him because this is just asking too much. Even if his dad had asked this much of him, Gohan isn't sure he'd be able to live up to it. I really don't want to do drugs, Rixus. It's not in my nature. I'm not that way, and, really, you talk about training me, but I'm not a passionate fighter either. I practice with my dad and my little brother because it's something we bond over. It's a hobby at best, and certainly not a passion. When I fight seriously, it's only to protect those I care about in the earth, not because I have a taste for it or love using my energy. Using ki is a means to an end, and really, it probably causes more harm than good. He pauses and then regards his friend. I fight for justice and I fight for my family. Rixus furrows his brow. It's a delicate move, and his voice is soft. But we're your family. My family is on Earth, and I want to get home to them, that's why I'm doing this, for them. An uneasy, nervous laugh escapes from Gohan's lips. I mean, I do want to help you, but, his voice trails off and Rixus sighs, eyes as heavy as the atmosphere around them. That's a lot for some Earth kid, Rixus finally comments. Gohan nods, still contemplative when his forgotten cider is slid back towards him. He looks up to see Rixus regarding him with tired amusement. You're going to need this going forward, trust me. It's only gonna get harder. Captain Rorg is here, again. She's always about now, always hovering around whilst Gohan and Rixus train. Gohan really wouldn't mind as much if not for her little barbs here and there. They're not pointed or obvious enough that he can say anything back, but the way she teases him is so unexpected in contrast with her usual polite detachment. Otherwise she's friendly enough. Rixus is apparently her superior, and yet she doesn't really treat him as such when it's just the three of them. When other soldiers are around, she puts up a facade of respectful distance, something which certainly disappears the moment no ears are around to judge. A couple of days back, she'd offered him some pointers on how to avoid Rixus' lightning kick, the thing which took out his ankle last week and had the doctor berate both of them about. Sadly, the advice didn't mean much as the dolt just changed targets from the ankle to Gohan's right wrist. What's with this guy and going for the joints? Lord Rixus aims for the weakest points at all times, even during training. If your form is feeble, then you are merely inviting him to showcase it, Captain Rorg had said the other evening as she applied one of Gohan's many coatings of amber salve. He comes across as brash, but Lord Rixus is actually highly skilled in recognizing an opponent's weakness and then waiting to attack. So he's a predator. She'd laughed, very much a foreign sound, and then agreed with him. Later, Rixus and Captain Rorg had even demonstrated defense techniques in order to strengthen his stance. It had been most satisfying to see Rixus as the test dummy just because the idiot had to be flattened so many times on his back in the demonstrations. Sometimes she'd even stay for meals, but more times than not, she wouldn't, having to return to the barracks to meet with her men, or needing to attend a meeting with other captains, something Gohan bears not questioning just because the way she talks about them isn't with much confidence. Still, even though the company hasn't been entirely awful, Gohan finds his mood sinking lower with each passing day. He misses home, his friends and family, and just the earth in general. The thought wanes when a fist connects with his gut. You are not the most tactile, are you? Captain Rorg comments when Gohan skids along the dirt, halting just at the tip of her well-polished boots. Rixus assesses his volley from afar and hoots. I did just fine against you last time, he retorts from the ground, patience pressed. She pulls him up and gives him a slap on the back as he stumbles away. The way she smirks still makes him uneasy. Of course you're just going to say that you were holding back or something, right? Still on the other side of the clearing, Rixus lets out a low whistle. Oh, someone's bitchy today. And he is, and has been for the better part of a week and a half, especially since the Zeolite incident, missing Earth or not. Every moment since has had the teenager on edge, and even with the captain around, Gohan feels uncomfortable. Quell's lasting words about the Zeolites have impressed on him so deeply that Gohan finds himself looking around every corner before he walks, edging through doorways or simply just avoiding being alone unless in his room. Gohan is no coward, but the idea of people stalking him just because they think he's some dead god, that's unnerving. Had I not been holding back, you would not be here to tell the tale, my lord. Gohan scoffs. My lord. Rixus clearly loves the dynamic between the two, always eagerly grinning to himself like all his birthdays have come at once. Gohan had not long ago gotten used to Rixus' menacing behavior, but now he feels truly tested with another difficult person added to the fray, as though one wasn't bad enough. Do I need to put you to bed, little brother? Coos Rixus, making Gohan really want to make the guy's head spin. Are you being grumpy? I'm fine. To her credit, Captain Rorg takes a step away to give him some breathing space, unlike a certain deity who decides that Gohan's personal space is now also his personal space and plops a head on the teenager's shoulder. Annoyingly, Gohan hadn't even seen the guy move. He'd been several feet away just seconds ago. Wanna stop today? Grouchily, Gohan shoves away the unwelcome bird's nest. I want you to move that boulder off of me. Why are you being like that? The teenager sighs, scratching the back of his head as he glowers at the ground. The groove of his earlier impact etches deep into the layers of dirt as if bragging about the headache it's given him. His cranium throbs, pulsating on as he comes to realize that he may be letting this get at him a bit too much. I'm sorry, he eventually apologizes, I don't mean to be, you know. Cranky. Gohan spares Rixus a look, lips upturning wryly. Sure, that, maybe your last attack really did give me brain damage or something, I don't know. The blonde turns to the captain. Rorg, can you give us a mo? She nods and bows her head towards both of them. Gohan catches her gaze and holds it for longer than intended, unable to decode whatever seems to be going through the woman's head. Mori, Rixus starts, uncharacteristically stern as he folds his arms and considers Gohan with mounting tension. The latter can see the cogs moving about as if they're weighing up how to approach something undesirable, a topic unwelcome. When Gohan tells him to just get to the point, Rixus does just that. I think you should try the Serenity Candle again. The teenager recoils as if burned. You're kidding, right? You're clearly not making any progress with Doc Hesk, are you? You see her every other day, but I can tell that you've uncovered Jack. Just what can Gohan say to that? It's true. Dr. Hesk has become increasingly more frustrated too, and this time it's not for the lack of trying. Gohan really has been attempting to get into his head, but there's just nothing there. He's been telling everyone how they're all mistaken, how he's not Mori, and maybe now, despite the one hiccup of using the Serenity Candle, they'll see how right Gohan's been all along. I can tell that you're getting all antsy, Rixus continues, and you've pretty much hit a stalemate with how much you can do solo with the memories thing, at least for now. Why don't you just give it a go? I don't do Drew. The god gags before the teenager even finishes the sentence. You want to go to Earth, right? You've been here a while now, and neither you nor us are satisfied with what you've done with the doctor, or rather, not done. Gohan's expression sours. When you say, us you mean you and Quell, right? And Dr. Jivel, I suppose. I think he expected better. It stings a little because he actually respects the doctor. But maybe you should listen to yourself more, little brother, because I think you're your biggest critic here. You've been just wretched company as of recent, and whilst I know the Zealite's attack has been one reason why, I do think part of that is a lack of progression with your memories too. That's a bit of stretch. Is it? I don't know. The tone says otherwise and Gohan has to bite his tongue. I think you've been getting equally as frustrated as Quell and I with the whole thing. And at what point do you accept that I'm not Mori? Gohan then challenges. When do you accept that I don't have any of these memories to speak of? Surprisingly, Rixus doesn't bring up the first usage of the Serenity Candle and the seeming epiphany he'd had. It's apparently not needed, because instead he leans forward and offers a fond pat of Gohan's cheek. A week. If we've got no results in a week, then I'll talk to Quell. How does that sound, Gohan? Like the best option he's going to get. Captain Rourke's right. He thinks as a Cheshire cat Jin faces him, this fiend looks for any weakness and then goes for the kill. The following morning, the smell of the candle makes the teenager queasy even deep into his trance. Dr. Hesk had attempted not to look too excited at the prospect of using the candle, but Gohan had seen right through her. She'd practically bubbled in delight as she whipped out the long, thin stick. The room has been coated in shadow as the heavy curtains have long since been shut. Only the atmospheric flicker of orange and yellow from the candle creates a dismal glow in the darkness. Dr. Hesk's voice drops to that soothing drawl as she guides him through the darkness, through the trance. It's hard to trust her after she tricked him last time, but Gohan's in control now. He'd been the one to suggest the candle today. That alone gives him some comfort. Before this, the weeks had zipped by with very little in regards to memory recollection. They'd talked about Gohan's childhood as is the standard, combing through the details so finely that he's sick of thinking about anything before the age of 15, and they'd talked about his plans and aims in the future. Strangely enough, that had been even harder. Whilst Gohan knows that his plan is to go to university and study to become a scholar, he oddly finds it difficult to talk about, as though after recounting all his childhood adventures he somehow feels shame in taking a normal path into adulthood. Gohan won't become an adventurer or, with the possibility of disappointing Rixus, a god anytime soon. No, Gohan's going to become a scholar. Maybe, he might even get his teacher's qualification, who knows? His lips press into a fine line. Gohan's future is set, yet why does it feel so empty? Lavender teases under his nose, and so the teenager blames that for these types of thoughts. The sickly aroma spurts through him, breaking his head open like a burst of fireworks going off, exploding chaotically as he tries to stay grounded. It's harsher than he remembered, making him so nauseous that he thinks the room is being spun on its head. Focus, Gohan, the doctor says through the dizzying perfume. Dig deep within yourself, unearth the truth lying dormant. It's not for a lack of trying. The meditation anchors him only so much. I can't see anything, he manages, it's all dark. Push past. He twitches, I can't. Tides of swooping black course at him in a violent blows, one after the other until Gohan feels completely winded. This is the candle's fault, he knows it. He hates the thing with his entire being, he hates feeling so dizzy, so frazzled. It's like an undoing of him any time he smells that putrid stench. Deep breaths, she orders, voice soft. It grates on him. Everything grates on him. The smell, her, this place, the darkness. He's so frustrated, so angry. He wants to go. He wants to quit. He throws up. It's normal, so he's told. Dr. Hesk had rubbed calming circles into his back as Gohan apologized and apologized. He'd been so horribly embarrassed. When was the last time he'd been sick like that? 8, 9. Gosh, he can't even remember. For the first time, Gohan cancels his training session with Rixus and spends the day in his bed, sleeping off the nausea and trying to focus his mind away from the ever-stretching darkness. The next day offers even less in fruition. Instead of feeling sick, Gohan just develops a headache and demands the candle to be removed. The space between his temple pounds long after the doctor leaves him, and again, he spends another day in bed. Day 3 of using the Serenity Candle is an interesting day indeed. The black corridor of his mind contorts into ugly splotches of rebelling color, amplifying, and etching into Gohan's core as he tries to understand them. When he approaches an off-shade orange, the moment is rudely broken by a scream in real life, one emitting from Dr. Hesk as a swarm of fiery ki surrounds them. After the flames are put out, Gohan does go to train with Rixus and the captain that day, crabbier and bitchier than usual, especially when asked about the smell of smoke coming from his attire. The fourth day has Dr. Hesk arrive with even less sureness than usual. She eyes the darkened patch on the floor from where the worst of the fire had been, frowning with distaste as she sets the candle up once again. She's brave, Gohan'll give her that. Luckily, he doesn't cause another fire today. The colors against the shadow go on in their merry dance as the teenager focuses on the doctor's voice, on her guidance into the depths of the unknown, moving past the dangers of orange and into a spectrum indescribable thought. The lavender is the backdrop to the journey, a journey which, yet again, comes up empty. The teenager wakes from the stupor when the doctor has to shake him out of it. She'd even looked a bit worried, something which unsettles Gohan long after he goes to bed that night. The fifth day, a day marked by Gohan's growing confidence that he'd been right all along, is to be derailed so dramatically that it changes the course of his existence for good. It starts as normal as the others, ending the session with Dr. Hesk leaving his chambers as despondent as usual. The door shuts behind her, and yet again, Gohan's usual blistering headache has him cancel the training with Rixus and the captain. When it proves too difficult to sleep, he finds a new and sudden urge to take a bath. Strange, if only because Gohan can take or leave a bath, finding showers to be more convenient and never really appreciating the art of soaking in a tub. Wrinkly fingers and lukewarm water, But he follows his gut and runs himself a bath. He uses Mori's massive tub or pool, really because the ensuite runs impossibly big, extending out with large and open windows looking out into the forest. The view is impressive and Gohan finds himself appreciating it as the suds ease his skin, imprinting soft aromas and making him feel more spoiled than he's ever felt in his entire life. We lived very different lives, Mori. Whilst Gohan grew up in a modest home, Mori had luxuries galore. His chamber is bigger than the Sun House alone, and is filled with priceless gems and elaborate clothes. The books alone are probably worth more than all the possessions his family owns. He knows fancy books when he sees them, and see them does he as he's found himself skimming through the books on a day-to-day basis, still lost as the written scribbles swirl around one another with their secrets. He sinks lower into the bathtub as the lilac sky fades into something murkier, signing for little droplets of rain to start splattering against the window. It's moody, just like how Gohan's feeling. How long has he been away from home now? 7 weeks, 8. He's starting to lose track, and every day here has him slowly forget what it's like to live his normal Earth life. And worse of all, it makes him question if he's ever going to go back at all. Whether or not this misunderstanding is cleared up. Will they just let him go back to Earth, let him go home and be with his family, be with Vital? Despite knowing her the least, he finds it's her company he misses the most. Those quiet and comfortable study sessions, Those dates they'd share together in the mountains. He'd planned on showing Vidal his and Piccolo's waterfall when the weather warmed up. It would be just the two of them after he'd shake Gohan off of their tail, and there he'd probably set up camp for the night so they can explore the surrounding caves and hike through the mountains. Vidal's sporty like that. He likes that they can share in nature together. Will that happen again? Gohan presses his eyes closed and sinks until completely submerged. The black returns and he just can't get the smell of lavender from out of his brain. A rush of queasiness yields when he remembers the first time he'd used the candle, the memory of his dad's GI. He watches it as it grows smaller with distance. It's moving away from him, the turtle insignia growing minuscule as it shrinks and shrinks into obscurity. His eyes open, and a long breath leaves him. What do I do now, Dad? After the bath, he's in an even worse mood despite the headache finally fading away. Normally, with his spare time, Gohan likes to clear away some of Mori's clutter because the entire space is a death trap. Books have been strewn everywhere, pencils and pens alike erratic in their piles on the floor. Really, did the guy have to be such a slob? Even though Mori has been remembered as one of those genius types, something Gohan can see with the mountains of reading, the teenager is still mighty unimpressed with how he'd lived. Cleanliness is next to godliness, indeed. Gohan had long since tidied up the worst of it, yet the bookshelves still need a keen eye. He examines some of the spines he recognizes, the ones filled with pictures and diagrams. Books which are easily devoured just because he doesn't need the ability to read Lanet tongue. Pictures of beasts, aliens, monsters and everything in between glare up from their respective pages, enticing him to stare more, but stare he doesn't because the right sector isn't going to organize itself. So he slots the book in the living creatures section, and then turns to the astrology collection, angry because clearly Mori preferred these stars on the floor instead of the shelves. Time passes and he can't say that he's having a bad time. A lot of the pictures are made up of beautiful illustrations, bumpy to the touch and earthy to smell. The printing ink is oddly divine. As much of a bookworm he is, Gohan does find it just a little strange to be getting excited over a press print. He slides the book into the chemical warfare section and moves on. Along the pictures in one book, the text reads about the history of the estate and the beauty of the surrounding land. Gohan is quick to become enamored in it, swallowing the information like a man dying of hunger as he learns more and more about the realm. It speaks of creatures found in the forest, of the temples, of the ancient buildings, of the wars taken place there, of the... He stops, the book dropping to the floor. What the... No. Gohan's reading. Scrambling, he picks up the book and sure enough, he finds that it's most certainly not written in any Earth language he knows, but instead the swirling characters of Lanet tongue. Oh, he squeaks. Oh God. This is impossible. This can't be happening. It is happening, and to Gohan's abject horror he can understand every book he next comes into contact with. His wonderful job in tidying up is abruptly ruined as he rifles through rows of books, spines and pages flying through the air as he finds that he is able to read everything. He now recognizes that, whilst messy, the books had been ordered in categories depending on genre and age. The knowledge infuriates him for some reason, drives him to such frustration that he tears down an entire bookcase. A grunt leaves him as he kicks at the wood. Gohan isn't supposed to be able to read Lanet tongue. Gohan isn't supposed to know about anything of this. I'm not him. He breathes hard, feeling manic as he watches the dust lower like snowfall. With the layers of gray falls something a bit bigger, but still small and wispy to the touch. Gohan snatches the fleeting thing, crumpling it accidentally when he feels the thin, papery material. After forcing himself to calm down, he gingerly unfolds the paper and within seconds things go from bad to worse. Deep down, somewhere so deep and ignored, Gohan knows this to be Mori's handwriting. Quell's watching from the winter pavilion. It's only time. It's only time. What's only time? Gohan's hand is shaking as he regards the note, because he remembers that Mori had been murdered, remembers when Rixus had warned him at the bar, remembers that he's not allowed access to Earth. He stashes the note away and turns on his heel, fleeing Mori's, or rather, his room. Memories or not, Gohan's done. He wants absolutely nothing to do with any of this. A constraint on his chest tightens and the feeling of panic descends, a bizarre claustrophobia making him see only through tunnel vision as he tears out of the estate and into the green depths of the forest. When running isn't enough, Gohan flies. He doesn't care what the captain or anyone else thinks of him. Gohan just needs to get away. He passes signs he can now read. One arrow pointing left tells a name of a place the teenagers never heard of, and the one pointing right is simply labeled, Spire Grounds. How do I get out of here? And then he remembers that this is a realm, never once has it been referred to as a planet. Is this place separate from where Earth is from the universe? Yes, a cool voice in the back of his head hums. He swipes a hand through his hair, frantic. Getting back to Earth is near impossible, isn't it? And even if he manages it, then Quell will follow him there too, and just what would he do there? He'd not only kill Gohan but also his friends and family too. Yug. Gohan palms at his eyes, rubbing them hard. Maybe if he rubs hard enough the gold will disappear and everything will go back to normal. All this started when his eyes changed, when that stupid tree spoke to him. Yeah, it's all that tree's fault. Suddenly, Gohan feels the pinprick scratch at the center of his throat. His eyes open and he finds himself looking into the faceless abyss of a shadow. And between Gohan and the shadowy figure sits a thin blade aimed into his neck. Don't move, the Z-Light warns, whispering. On principle, Gohan growls but he doesn't move. His eyes thin as the thing regards him with longing interest. The blade tilts and Gohan with it. Can you read the sign? It then asks. Gohan looks between the Z-Light and the sign, anxiety growing. He's always been a rotten liar, so he doesn't answer and instead just glowers. As soon as Gohan's given the chance he's going to knock that blade awry and punch the shadowy creep through a tree. Can you read the sign? It repeats, tone harsher, but there's something off about it. When it says the sentence again does Gohan realize the Z-Light is actually speaking in Lanat tongue. Disturbed, he grinds his teeth and looks away but the damage is done, and so the Z-Light repositions the blade, but before anything worse can happen, anything else to remind Gohan how much of mess this all is, the Z-Light brusquely dives left. Or at least, that's what he thinks. In a trail of smoke, Gohan notices tumbled figure of the Z-Light smattered in the forest's filth. It sticks to it regardless of the smoke-like mass making up the body, creating a paragon between earth and ethereal amongst clouds of gray. Beyond that stands a new person, tall and poised behind a disconcerting mask, one which makes Gohan think of a traditional kabuki mask dyed a fiendish red. Black jets along the side and under the eyes, hiding under a pair of flashing gold. The rest of the person's silhouette is coated in a shower of smoke of its own, occasional flashes of red lightning whirring beneath the surface. The person seems to have very little business with Gohan because it wastes no time in stalking over to the Z-Light and picking him up. The teenager steps away, back against the sign, watching on in revulsion as the masked individual plies the Z-Light upwards and proceeds to rip the being in two. Stop it. The teenager calls, stop it. But it's too late. Gohan's never seen such brutality, feeling the bile in his stomach stir as the crunching of bones and spurt of blood cry into the empty sky. If the Z-Light had made any noise then Gohan hadn't heard it, probably because of the screaming in his own head to stop this, the screaming telling him to run. But Gohan does neither. Horrified, he stands there and watches. There are monsters everywhere. Finally, the masked person throws both pieces of the Z-Light into a shadowy lump on the ground before turning his attention to Gohan. Instinct rife, Gohan raises both fists and readies himself for the worst. And the worst is what he gets. The person then waves a hand over the mask, stealing the black and clearing the red away. When the smoke and lightning disappears, Gohan's left gaping. His stance drops, but his feet pull him backwards. And no. Monsters everywhere. Mori, are you okay? Asks the newly revealed Rixus. The golden light of his eyes burn with compassion, but Gohan can still hear the crunch of bones, the squelch of blood. When Rixus moves forward, the teenager recedes. Did he hurt you? What's wrong? Gohan's head pounds again. The disgust wells up in him, simmers like bad food, rotting and poisoning him from within. When Rixus tries again, tries to grab his arm, Gohan does the only thing his body allows him to do, he reacts. His arm pistons so fast and with such force that he's sure the echo of the punch can be heard for miles around. Rixus takes the hit across the left side of his face and so flies right with great velocity. It's a hell of a punch, stronger than anything Gohan's delivered thus far, and enough to even surprise Rixus and knock him well out of eyeshot. The teenager groans into the cusp of his hands. What kind of hell is this? You're all monsters, even you, Rixus. Gohan then takes back to the sky. The stretch of evening is upon him now, chasing him as he dashes in blue light across the horizon. He doesn't know where he's going, only that he has to move, and that the more space between him and the estate the better. At some point during the flight, the nausea had escalated into full-blown sickness, and Gohan is forced to stop to relinquish his stomach of its contents. I'm not Mori, he internally repeats over and over as the bile pours free. His lungs scream at him as he hacks up more than what he can, and Gohan wants to scream along with them, and so he does. I'm not him, he bellows out over the surrounding fields. Only the grass and some surrounding birds are around to listen, darkened by the setting evening sun beyond the clouds. I'm not Mori. He's panting hard, still winded from throwing up, and tired from the impressive ground he must have covered in flying here. His chest tightens with a stitch, and so he lowers himself to grass. Gohan threads the blades between his fingers with a bowed head, willing himself calm. I just want to go home, he mumbles so pathetically, painfully so, enough that he feels his throat constrict. Just why is this happening to him? Gohan doesn't want this, he isn't special, not like this. He doesn't care about godly affairs, about powers. If it was up to Gohan, he'd just get rid of the lot of it. He has zero interest in being a part of any divine system. All Gohan wants to do is be with his family. He thumps a fist against the ground and in retaliation, the world shakes. It shudders continually as Gohan bashes fist after fist into the pulverized dirt. There's one final punch, one so catalytic that something deep within him even rattles. Breathing ragged, he presses his head against the beaten soil. I'm a monster too. His eyes, golden, he knows close when a thread of wetness appears. He stays like that for a short while, until he feels a gust of wind tickle at his hair, something which at least makes him peer up. Gohan expects to see Rixus there, or maybe even Quell. What he doesn't expect to is to see that bloody tree. Gohan's up and on his feet in a flash, minuscule in front of the magnificent ivory branches as it looms on eternally into the heavens. He hadn't noticed but does now that trails of cerulean flowers lead up to the tree, almost like a pathway, stunning and perfumed with something addictive. Breathing feels good, and not horribly heavy like his last experience with the ivory tree. Even now, gazing upon its majesty doesn't plow Gohan down with the pressure he'd originally experienced. In its place is a peculiar lightness, something wholesome and fulfilling like a full meal on a winter day, like his mother welcoming him in from the snow with a warm drink. It's like walking through one's own front door. So, he treads up to the tree and the branches shine a sparkling silver in rejoice. Zigzags of gold strip down from all sides in symmetrical glee as Gohan takes his place at the base of the trunk. Does it hurt you to look upon me still? It questions. Gohan shakes his head, awestruck. No, it doesn't. Silence follows until a new streak of silver flashes beneath the bark. Finally, The ivory tree continues, it is due time to accept your duty. Another flutter of wind blows past, gifting Gohan another dose of the flowery aroma. It's sweet and makes his stomach flip. His head becomes hazy from it, obsessively wanting more as the scent fades. Duty. The teenager parrots unintelligibly. You are a son of the Almighty, a shepherd to lead the masses to a new dawn. My child, you are my fourth god of revelation, of death and of, most importantly of revolution. Gohan's winded. The information steals his very breath, and so he drops to a knee. It's surely not. You can gaze upon my splendor, and you know deep within yourself what you must achieve. No more can you hide from your one true path, Mori of revelation. The gods of revelation before you gave their lives in order for you to continue their journey. Born from their ashes you stand. Born from their trials and tribulations, you are ready to carve your own path in the name of the Almighty. Born from godhood, you must stand true. Your skin has long since been shed, and snake you are no more, my son. The teenager peers up and the gold he sees within Rixus and Quell, and even within himself, flashes from the tree. The ivory encapsulates the royal shimmer as the warmth basks over Gohan. He understands now. Manic breath hitches. You're the Almighty, aren't you? I am all and everything. I am the ground you stand on, I am the air you breathe, I am even the sins you make, for I am foundation of life itself. And you, Mori of revelation, are a vessel for my will for change and development of all the universes and of all the realms. This is what it means to be who you are. Gohan brings a hand to his mouth, biting at his knuckle, terrified. This is not what he wants, not who he is. This is your destiny, continues the Almighty, having clearly interpreted Gohan's personal thoughts. This is your honor. My family, Gohan dares defy, what about my? That's when the pressure makes its reappearance. It pushes down so ferociously that Gohan falls down flat to his face, head wedged in the perfumed flowerbed as the onslaught grows stronger and stronger still. It's just like Quell's, Gohan realizes, except harsher, more pure, and so painfully intense. The squeezing of his body makes him scream, an experience which can be matched by nothing else imaginable, and something that hurts Gohan in a place within he never knew existed until now. And at a time as worse as any, that memory returns to him, the one garnered from the Serenity Candle the first time round. It's his dad again, leaving him. He watches it as it grows smaller with distance. It's moving away from him, the turtle insignia growing minuscule as it shrinks and shrinks into obscurity. Gohan wants to follow, but his legs won't cooperate. They're thickly cemented down at the base of the tree, and he's dizzy from the pressure and from the wonderful perfume. It makes him wobble where he lies as if he's drunk. The Almighty continues once more. Your family are your brothers, and your duty is to them and to the great cause. You are to lead the next generation, and you are to bring new life. It matters not under what pretense you do this. Gohan's son may be your mortal charade, but the spirit is within you. The teenager stares. Understand that there is no escaping the obligation to be carried, my child. This is your fate. You are but not a snake nor a sheep, you are a leader. Now, be gone. Wake up, Mori. Come on, get up. You're freaking me out. Rixus. Mori baby brother. Come on, please. When his eyes open, the first thing he sees a pair of golden lights. They're so bright that they nearly blind him, shining against the black night sky. Gohan knows what they are right away, knows that he has a pair to match. When his eyesight finally adjusts, he can make out the blanket of stars hanging in the background behind Rixus, the man who's currently cradling him like an infant. The forest behind is a mismatched collection of black shapes, lonely except for the noises of the local night creatures. Mori, the man repeats, this time relieved. Thank God. Oh, heavens. Mori, I thought, after last time you weren't breathing and I. Gohan pulls himself out of Rixus' hold. The memory of what the man did is still with him, but right now he just can't bring himself to even care. The only reminder is the darkened patch of skin atop the upper lip. It's swollen and looks like it hurts to touch. How Gohan managed it, he has no idea. Rixus sighs, shuddering as he watches Gohan figure out their surroundings. Never has someone looked so relieved. Brother, I thought I spoke with the Almighty. He then interrupts the god, voice weak, and his brows furrow, and the next bit chokes him. I think I understand, but. Mori. Gohan's hands run through his hair again and again, desperate in motion. His emotions jump from 1 to 10 in a matter of seconds. Rixus, it told me about Revelation and, he swallows, words decaying, I'm scared. I don't want to do this. I want to go back. Anguished, the teenager lowers into a tight ball. His knees knock against his chin and for the first time in a long time, he lets go. He truly lets go. Tears run rampant down his cheeks as raw sobs rip from the back of his throat. I'm never going to Earth again, Gohan tells Rixus, voice hoarse, I'm never going to see any of them ever again, am I? Rixus doesn't answer, instead kneeling into the dirt and bringing the teenager's head to rest on his chest. He's silent as Gohan cries and cries until he's completely spent, slowly running a hand up and down Gohan's back like Gohan would do for Goten. If anything, the action makes it all